Hey, what's going on, friends? It's Keon. This is day 4 of our one-on-one chats about writing, and I have a confession to make. I missed Saturday and Sunday this week. I don't know what happened, but I've been exhausted lately. Like just physically exhausted, mentally exhausted, just tired, and uh, I'm usually a what most would consider a very early riser. I'm up usually 4:30, 5 at the latest on weekdays, and then usually 5 or 5:30 on the weekends. And this weekend, I don't know what happened, but I was just beat and didn't get up, wasn't able to get there. And do this, and it's more of a call out for me and just honesty with you, in that I don't know what happened, if I'm being honest. So there we go. And I think what that gets me to is I want to talk about this idea of resistance. Because whenever you're on the cusp or precipice of something, be it a creative endeavor or a life change endeavor or whatever, whenever you're facing something hard, you're gonna face resistance. Now, there's a great book about it. It's called The War of Art. It's one of my favorites. So it's like a tiny book, super thin, and it's one of my absolute favorites on the topic of battling resistance and getting into the writer's chair. Because for most people that I talk to, it's my wife texting me. I don't know if you heard that. Let's pop it on. Do not disturb. There we go. Where were we? Oh, yeah. For most of us, the hard part about writing is not necessarily the actual act of writing, but it's getting there, right? You either don't have the time, you don't have the ideas, you don't have insert whatever. And by the time you get to the chair, you've eaten into all of your actual writing time because you've procrastinated, right? You've done the endless scroll on Instagram looking for inspiration. You've gone on Twitter and had a battle. You've checked your email. You've done all the technical little things that you need to do to create, or that are preventing you from creating. And then finally, you get there, and then maybe you have 10 or 15 minutes. You're like, oh, that's not long enough to create, right? That's not long enough to write, so why even bother? uh, that has happened to me more times than I'd like to admit, where I do all the other stuff first before getting to the writing. And so the way around it, is a lot simpler than we'd probably like to admit. And this goes with, again, exercise. This goes with anything hard, because resistance is always going to be a presence when it comes to making change, doing difficult things, or making a movement forward in your life. And what comes to writing, I think it's most palpable. And I'm not sure if other creators, like in other media, experience this. Like, I don't know, do painters, do sculptors, do whoever, they face it. I know that on an athletic side of things, I definitely felt it. Where, I didn't want to get up early and go on a run when I was playing more competitive rugby. I didn't want to get to the weight room. I didn't want to make sure I was at practice a little longer, a little bit later, and so you're gonna face resistance. It's always there. I've never found someone who says, "Oh yeah, getting in the chair, sitting down to write is an easy thing." Uh, and it's an interesting thing. I've always wondered, like, why is that? Why is there this constant demon that kind of sits on your shoulder, that prevents you from getting there? I think some of it is just creation is hard, right? Some of it is our own self doubt. Like, gosh, like, do I actually have something important to say? Um, and some days you do. Some days you have something great to say, and then some days you write utter garbage that doesn't need to be read by anyone else. And I want to encourage you, the garbage days, the days where it's just as hard, the days where you're running into walls. Those days are probably almost more important to write than the days where you feel full of motivation. It's because it's just building the habit. I think a lot of times we say, you have to write daily in order to be great. I think there's something to that, but I think it's just you have to write as often as humanly possible to be great, to be able to write. Uh, because the more you practice, the more you go after it, the more work you do in the chair, the more writing that you do, the more you hone your voice. That's why I want to do these videos. Like I feel like my speaking voice, I haven't been doing it as much. I haven't been coaching in the gym. I haven't been talking about writing. I haven't been making, content. My least favorite word. We'll talk about why I hate the word content later. But I wanted to hone that skill, and really for creators, for people who are in a creative, uh, who are doing creative work, the only way to really do it is to create more. Like there isn't practice because we have to be handing our gift off to the world. Like when you create something, when you sit down in the chair, you have to be able to, eventually hand it off to someone, hand it off to your consumers. You have to hand over that gift. That's part of the deal when you enter into these contracts with chaos, when you start creative work. And that even goes for the stuff that I talk about, like writing a source book, writing for your business. It takes practice and it takes work. And so I don't think I've given you any practical steps yet. But I want you to know, like, you're not alone in this. Everyone who has ever written a word, from, Aristotle to Ernest Hemingway to J.K. Rowling to you, we have all faced this resistance, this wall that comes up when we try to create. And I think the first step is just accepting that it's going to be there. And then there's this funny idea called the 5-second rule, right? And the idea is that when you feel resistance, you have 5 seconds to beat it instantly. Like when your alarm goes off, you have 5 seconds to get up and say, let's go. Because if you allow that voice to start chatting at you, like, oh man, you're so tired, Keon. Wouldn't it be so much nicer just to cuddle up in bed for maybe just set your alarm for 15 more minutes? It'll be good for you. Your body needs it. And, it may speak truths. Maybe my body does need it. Maybe it will feel so good. But I've made a commitment to write. I've made a commitment to create something and try and do better. And so the biggest thing I think you can do is just immediately, as soon as you face resistance, say, no thank you, and go and do what you were supposed to do. The second thing is identify the point in your day when you are strongest. For most of us, it's before the day has hit us, right? That's why I'm a huge proponent of early morning everything, early morning workouts, early morning content creation, early morning writing, wherever it is, because that's when your brain typically is the freshest. So rather than waking up, doing your meditation, doing your workout, doing your Bible reading or study or whatever it is, get up and make the first thing you do writing instead of everything else. And that way you've beaten resistance off. You've destroyed resistance before resistance can get to you. And so I hope that helps. I hope it helps to just know, like, hey, other people face this too, and it's a common thing that we do. Okay? Hope that helps. We'll talk soon. Bye. Go off and write something, okay?